How's it going, everyone? Today we're gonna be having a different video. Today we're gonna be reacting to Boyzilla or Coffeezilla video of the Epstein files because it is absolutely insane the fact that we are currently gaslit to highest degree and the most dumbest degree because the amount of things that I have heard about this shit is absolutely insane. So we're gonna just hop right into this. Make sure you go give Coffeezilla Voidzilla a like on his videos, comments, go to his channel, give a like this, subscribe. Make sure to put his name in the description of the video and let's.
The President of the United States is trying to cover the Epstein story. It's the double down right here on Truth Social. A big post saying that actually it's the Democrats who wrote the Epstein files. This is
Bro, it doesn't matter who wrote the Epstein files or not, Democrat, Republican. What matters is who's fucking on it. Who is on it? Who are the people who committed those horrendous crimes? They need to be punished. And punished? No. We're never gonna see them punished. At least not in our not actually no, we're never gonna see them. I want to know what I believe is gonna happen with the Epstein files, right? I truly believe in like 20 to 30 years from now, then we'll get some files. After some people die from just natural causes, because let's be real here. We all know these billionaires, most of them they're old. Most of them are old now, and they'll be heading out anytime soon at this point. So it's just like probably once they're gone, we're gonna get some truth.
is just after Elon Musk, who worked with Trump for many months, said that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That's the real reason they have not been made.
By the way, when Elon Musk said this, I was like, it's probably some truth to this. Now, I'm not saying Donald Trump did some crimes to be on the Epstein. That's not what I'm saying. You can be on that list without committing crimes. But I'm just saying he probably was on it. Like, you don't have to be criminal to be on the list because it goes off of flight records, I believe. Well, right? As well. I'm not saying just flight records. I said as well.
Made public. Obviously, we've already seen deflections from the president about Epstein, saying that it's a disgrace to talk about it.
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
This was absolutely crazy. Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Bro, what do you mean are we still talking about? This is currently the biggest controversy in our generation right now. I believe this is either as big or bigger than 9/11, in my personal opinion.
It just seems like a desecration.
But today, it goes a step further. Quick
And a desecration is a crazy statement. That's just, it was such a crazy statement. I think that's one of Trump's worst response he ever had, in my own personal opinion.
context. There's been a lot of infighting in the Republican Party over basically who's at fault for the giant botch of the Epstein files, with the majority of Republicans not wanting to believe that Trump himself was against a full release, but rather that he was sort of tricked into not releasing the Epstein.
And I don't want him to be a part of it, but he most likely is. It's just there's too much coincidence that just lead towards. It's just that's just all he really is.
Files by one of his lackeys. But today, Donald Trump came out and basically backed Pam Bondi, saying they're all going after Pam Bondi, who's doing a fantastic job all over a guy who never dies, Jeffrey Epstein. For years, it's Epstein over and over again. Why are we giving publicity to files written by Democrats who con the world?
I just don't see what does that have to do with anything? Just because if it was written by someone who's a Democrat, what that just it's stupid. You're trying to make this about politics, but this is not about politics. This is about a sex trade that's being hidden from the world and not being exposed. That's what this is about. This is about if us Americans let this pass over, just ignore it, be like, oh, it is what it is. What else can they get over us? Like it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, if we convince them that if we convince them that Jeffrey Epstein never exists, hey, maybe we can convince them that we own all of Europe and just gaslight them into thinking that we should just go to war with them and take Europe. I'm scratching there, making it a hyperbole. tired. But it's just one of those things where it's just like it's bigger than what I feel like some people also think it. And making it just about politics is a way for them to try to throw off all the hate because most people once they hear situations like oh, politics, I don't care. Me personally, I'm kind of that way sometimes too. Bring up politics in the conversation sometimes, and I'm just like, dude, I would rather take my hand and fist myself viciously right now in front of you than to sit here and debate with you about politics. That's how I feel about politics sometimes. But this is just crazy.
With the Russia hoax, they created the Epstein files just like they created the fake Hillary Clinton Steele dossier. Now, this is such a smokescreen and a deflection. This is not a left versus right issue. Epstein never has been. It's the people versus the predators, not left versus right. The people versus the pedophiles, the people versus the people on planes.
You know what this feels like? This feels like the people versus the government. That's what this feels like. I'm I'm just being real. It feels like this is the people versus the government, and if the people don't push hard enough, the government's going to get a real big W.
There ain't no left versus right here. In fact, some of the people who want this the most are people on the right, even on Truth Social. Obviously, a hugely Trump-favored place. Everybody is saying, no, this is unacceptable. You have to release the files. Later in the post, Trump also says that these are radical left-inspired documents and to not waste time and energy on Jeffrey Epstein, somebody that nobody cares about. But actually, we all do care about it. You know?
You're right. No, he's right about something. I do not care about Jeffrey Epstein. May that man be burning in hell for all I give a damn. I'm just being real about that. May he burn in hell. What I care about is any accomplice that he had that's not arrested or in jail. That's what I care about. Now, him again, Jeffrey Epstein himself, I do agree. Yeah, may he be forgotten about. But sadly, his name is part of the file list. So until we get that shit, until we get the truth, sorry, he's not going nowhere. We we're in here with 5 minutes of pain time.
Who doesn't
That's
actually
exactly what
want
this is.
out? The elites. That's why they've never done it. That's why it was a compelling pitch when Donald Trump hinted to his base that maybe he was going to release the files. People largely didn't trust the job that Biden had done. That's why it was a compelling story. So the idea now that it was Biden and Obama who invented the Epstein files is absolutely preposterous.
I'll be real with you. I kind of hate when people try to blame Biden for anything because necromancy should be illegal in our reality, and we all know the truth. All right, that man was being controlled by a necromancer back there. Someone was pulling the strings. Let that man rest. All right, just let him rest.
They don't want that out either. And maybe that's because, as a
man.
producer of 60 Minutes alleged, Ghislaine Maxwell implied that there were tapes on Trump and also tapes
Wait, isn't that the girl who's also in jail right now too? Isn't that who that is?
on Clinton. You know who else said it? Mark Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein's brother, saying Epstein said, what I know about both candidates, the 2016 election would have to be canceled. So this whole idea
Oh my God, what? He said that? That's Jeffrey Epstein's brother said that is crazy. That's crazy.
that this is a left or right thing, it's not. It's the elites. Anybody who was on that plane, anybody who was associated with Epstein, seen with Epstein, even if they did nothing wrong, they don't want that out. Everyone who wasn't seen with Epstein.
But that's the thing though, like I feel like if you did know Epstein, right, and you know you were clean, why would you be like me personally to make sure that I'm not here's how I'm thinking of it. If I knew him but I knew that I had a clean record and I knew I didn't do any of the sick shit that they did, right? I would be like, okay, all I'm gonna do is just say, hey, I seen this person, and this person there. That's all I know. I didn't do anything else. Whatever I saw, I'd give them all. I just want to be sure to make sure my reputation is clean. Now, obviously, blackmail, stuff like that, threaten families. I get it. I understand there could be a lot of other things that are involved in there. But I'm just trying to think of it the most simplest way Is that the right? Yeah, whatever. I think so.
Wasn't on that plane. Of course, they all want the files out. And what's interesting is obviously the Trump administration has sort of played footsie with this idea for a long time, playing to their base. They know this is a big issue.
What was all in here then when they posted this picture? Because it just Epstein files phase 1. Was it just was it just a binder just full of middle fingers on each page? Just yep, you guys aren't getting it. Nope, yep, sorry. And just the laughing emojis. That's all it. Look at this face, actually. This is the face of a man who knows, like, you guys aren't getting it.
They had the influencers stand out
Oh,
there with a
tough.
bunch of released material. But we also showed clips of Donald Trump implying that maybe Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew were doing bad things on the island.
Bill Clinton.
Got a lot of problems coming up, in my opinion, with the famous island.
That island was really a cesspool. There's no question about it. Just ask Prince Andrew.
So consistently, Trump
Wow. That's insane. There's video evidence of the man calling out 2 powerful people like that. Wow, and he's denying it? Just wow. That's that, bro. All you can say is just wow. If anyone wants to sit here and believe that the Epstein files don't exist, I'm sorry, you're delusional. And again, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. That is 100% true. My opinion is that if it's not an exact list, there is something that exists out there that can incriminate a whole lot of people. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a list. It's just, I believe it's just some information out there that could be the end of a lot of people. That's just my opinion.
has hinted that maybe these guys were involved with Epstein, maybe it was bad, but turns out all these guys knew each other and knew Epstein. We know this in part from a Piers Morgan interview where he talks to a lady who went to a dinner party with Trump, Clinton, Epstein, and Prince Andrew.
Extraordinary collection of very high-powered people. How did they all interact with Epstein? How did Trump, Clinton, and Prince Andrew interact with him?
Everyone was very, very pally with him, you know. It was like there was close bonds, you could see that.
So these guys knew each other.
They were best friends. They were over there best friends shooting their shit with each other all the time. Probably, man, that's crazy. That's so crazy.
Apparently had dinner parties together, all of them together. Trump later accuses 2 of the guys of doing bad things. And then when we release the files, can we release the files? Well, no, actually, no, we can't do that. Nobody cares about that. The reason why...
It just doesn't make sense. You're best friends with people. you're best friends with people. You expose people and say, hey, y'all might have some trouble to deal with later on down the line about the things y'all was doing on that island. And then when it's getting close to time to exposing everything, you're just like, what? What? Island? What list? Man, Jeffrey Epstein didn't even exist. What are you guys talking about? The man never existed. Watch. It will get to that point. I 100% believe it will get to that point. It's absolutely insane.
It seems obvious. Epstein knew Prince Andrew. Yes. He knew Bill Clinton. Yes. But he also knew Donald Trump. And recently tapes were released of Epstein talking and calling Donald Trump his closest friend.
So how do you know this?
Donald's closest friend.
So it makes intuitive.
I'm Donald's closest friend for 10 years.
Closest friend.
So it makes intuitive sense.
Closest friend for 10 years is a big statement. That's that sentence right there holds a lot of weight, surprisingly.
To distance yourself from files that may or may not have your name in it, and even distance yourself from the people involved. It's worth stating Trump actually denied knowing Prince Andrew.
I don't know Prince Andrew.
Of course, this was
What? But didn't they have dinner together?
immediately debunked by photos showing the 2 together.
And there's photos of the man together with him? But he doesn't know the man. What the?
And of course,
You know, it's crazy when you really think about this. At a certain point in time in history, they maybe would have gotten away with shit like that. like easily. Here's why I say that. Technology and recordings, pictures, thanks to the internet, that shit is forever. It's forever. So it's like if you do something in the past, right, thinking I'm just gonna say this now and whatever. Once the situation blows over, we'll never hear this again. Next you know, 13 years go by and someone says, by the way, what's this picture of you? And you're just like, oh, or what's this recording of you saying this? And you're just like, oh, like that's the problem. And I think that's what gets a lot of the older rich people caught, because most of them think that, okay, just because I did this like back in 1998, oh, no one's gonna get caught by it. It's like, no, someone took a picture, someone took a recording, someone somewhere saw something. It's always that one person you don't know that sees something, and that's what gets you.
Of course, showing that they clearly knew each other as of 2000. Now, the reason you would deny knowing Prince Andrew, even though you did, is obvious. At the time, he was facing allegations related to Epstein. By the way, allegations that now are basically over.
Oh, that's so.
Prince Andrew is very happy about us dropping the Epstein probe. A source for The Sun said he's only been abroad once since the scandal erupted. Prince Andrew has always been very nervous about going abroad and always.
Yeah, I bet you would be nervous. Shit.
Looking over his shoulder, as he should be, in my opinion, but
he really should be nervous. Bro, man, the allegations that's leveled against them is absolute pain.
now he's very happy because the guy who never met him but was photographed with him in 2000.
I who never met him but was photographed with him. That sentence hurts. How do you never meet a guy and here's a picture of you with him? That sentence fucking hurts.
Just
so
ended
good.
the investigation. Now, I have to say, Trump's been pretty consistent on the fact he has no interest in releasing the Epstein files in full. He said this multiple times. The reason most people have sort of a false memory of this, the reason it's sort of a Mandela effect that he campaigned on the idea of releasing the Epstein files, is because Fox News released a deceptively edited clip where they cut out the part where he said, yeah, I'll probably release the Epstein files. And they cut out the part where then he backtracks on that completely.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
And that's the part most of us saw. Of course, later, people found out that the full clip showed him saying basically the opposite.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
We also have Bill O'Reilly on news.
Is that not really... It sounds like he's still implying that he would release it just after looking it over. That's I don't know.
Nation saying he just talked to Trump back on St. Patrick's Day, and Trump basically said the same thing.
He said, and I agree, there are a lot of names associated with Epstein that had nothing to do with Epstein's conduct. They maybe had lunch with him or maybe had some correspondence for one thing.
And again, that is a fair assumption. It's not illogical to say that just because you had lunch with a guy doesn't make you a creep as well. You just had lunch. That's fair, but I mean, there's just other things. It's just like,
Thing or another, if that name gets out, those people are destroyed because there's not going to be any context. Media doesn't care about context, so you can't do that.
So over and over, we've seen the same answer from the president. Not the fact that, oh no, the Epstein files, it's a lefty conspiracy. No, actually, it's the worry that people in the files are going to have their lives destroyed by the files. That sounds a lot more like covering for the people in the files than it does covering the victims. We've heard.
oh my God, he's right. Oh, he's right. That does sound like that, huh?
Destroyed by the files. That sounds a lot more like covering for the people in the files than it does covering the victims. We've heard Kash Patel and Pam Bondi talk about, oh, we got to protect the victims.
Go through it very cautiously to protect.
here's my thoughts on the protecting the victim stuff. I don't care about all the details about. That's not what I'm there for. I don't want to see videos about what happened to the victim. I don't want to hear stories. It sucks that they went through that, and I feel so bad for them. That's terrible. What I want to know is who are the people that did it to them. That should be what's on those videos, evidence, pictures. Like that's what needs to be talked about. No one wants to know about the sick, horrendous things they were doing to kids. No one wants to know. No.
All
No.
the victims.
We're not going to re-victimize women. We're not going to put that back out there.
But when we actually hear the president talk about it, and the real reason, right, because he's ultimately the decision maker on whether this gets released, what the real reason is cited is not about victims. It is about the people, the names in the thing. So I find it disgusting. They're
Exactly. Yeah, it should be about the names of the people there, not the victims. No one wants to know about the victims, what they're doing in their life right now. Let them be at peace. Let them do whatever. If some of them are alive, because I've heard some stories, I've read some things, and I know that recently there was one lady who there's evidence that apparently she wasn't suicidal, but well, she's not here anymore, and apparently that's how she went. So yeah, to any people that are still around, may they find some peace, and to the people who aren't still around, may they definitely find some peace.
using the victims of Epstein as a shield for the people who are actually in these files. Now, of course, who specifically is he worried about? Well, maybe it's his friends, maybe it's people he has dinner parties with, and of course, maybe it's him, Donald Trump, that he's worried about. The journalist Michael Wolff actually quotes Steve Bannon as saying Jeffrey Epstein was really feared in 2016 for what he knew.
I was there, and it was that moment, and Bannon said to Epstein, and he said this in a good humor. He said during the campaign, it would be the 2016 campaign, you, meaning Jeffrey Epstein, were the only person I was afraid of.
So that is 3 independent sources.
That's a crazy statement.
You've got the Ira Rosen quote, the Michael Wolff quote, and that Mark Epstein quote, all saying that there is some type of damaging information on Trump. 2 of those people specifically.
You know what this is like? It's like points on a graph. How many points can you get before you just figure out, be like, okay, well, I got all these points that's pointing towards this direction. That's what this is like, bro. It's just like there's too many things are adding up.
Specifically implying that it's also on Clinton as well. You also have the Elon Musk allegation from left field, but he doesn't source anybody, so we won't count that. Either way, I must say, I don't know for sure if
Elon Musk allegation. Man, that allegation was absolutely crazy. What could you say he sourced? If you were to take a guess, I would probably say his source maybe would probably be someone from the end. Maybe he read something. Maybe someone told him something. That's what I would assume the source would be, but obviously he didn't state that. It's just a guess on my part, okay? That's all it is.
If Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Donald Trump were heavily involved in anything nefarious or not, that is exactly why we should all demand that we open these files. But
also the biggest thing here, innocent. Like, there should be nothing. You should have nothing to. That's the biggest thing here, in my opinion. That's the biggest common sense answer here is this: if you're innocent, hey, yeah, you go ahead and release information on me. I'm innocent, so I'm good. I got nothing to worry about. That's what I feel like any innocent person would do. A guilty person would say, "What? You're still talking about him? That happened years ago, man. Move on already. We got other things to worry about. Y'all remember the flood?" That sounds like what a guilty person would say to me, but hey, I don't know.
Possibility of both Democrats and Republicans being implicated in some of these files, whether they did it or not, or just knew him, may give a plausible reason for why the Epstein files have been heavily redacted this whole time. There are very powerful people involved. We've known that. The reason we've been given, of course, is that, you know, we've got to protect the victims. The real reason behind the scenes is really they're protecting the powerful people. Now, the most charitable
I think he has a booger in his nose. I just noticed, by the way.
interpretation is, as Bill O'Reilly said, it's because those people would have their lives ruined. They had nothing to do with Epstein, but we know some of them probably did. We know this from the Miami Herald because the FBI agents who searched Epstein's house found a cache of thick black binders all labeled with names that contained hundreds of naked or semi-naked photographs on CDs that Epstein stored in various places. The labels on the binders were redacted from photos because
there are actually photos of this? No way. And I didn't see. Oh my God.
because prosecutors said they were names of third parties.
And it's all, so this is all actual redacted stuff? That's crazy.
Parties who were not relevant to the case they are mounting against
Those
Ghislaine
things were
Maxwell.
thick, too.
So my question is,
Holy
are
hell.
those some of the third parties? Their names are on
Holy
binders with a bunch
fuck,
of explicit photographs that Epstein was storing? That seems like something we should be investigating. Or what about the
Big
fact
time.
that since the FBI is saying there's no blackmail involved with Jeffrey Epstein, we investigate the Wall Street Journal report that Jeffrey Epstein allegedly tried to extort Bill Gates over an extramarital affair? Because
isn't extort and blackmail the same fucking thing? What?
I thought there was no blackmail involved.
Yeah,
and my
like,
real plea
what?
to people is to not allow comments like this, these statements about partisan politics, to trick you into thinking this is some type of left versus right issue. That is the Trump play right now.
Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about earlier. That's exactly what I feel like this is doing, where it's just trying to make it about politics, and it's like, no, this is not about politics. This is about sick fucks that need to get caught.
I don't think it's going to work. I think it's a disaster. I think it's very stupid. I think people on the right are just as interested as people on the left. I think this is a universal issue, as it should be. If there are predators in the highest offices in the land, be they Democrat or Republican, we want to know about it.
Yeah, we want to know about it, and they should be removed. Have people that are that powerful getting away with horrendous crimes like that, because again, who knows what else they can get away with. But again, you know, thank you for watching. Anyone that did watch by, you know, thanks for all the likes. I saw that I'm at 89 subscribers now. I'm starting getting likes, comments. I appreciate anyone for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the CoffeeZilla video. Make sure you subscribe to also his Voidzilla content as well. And I'll see y'all in the next one.